Yo, want to go over something real quick because we're at the point where I don't think people understand the seriousness of this. I found this chart, and it's going back and looking at the M2 money supply, and each contraction that goes below where we have goes below 0%, we have negative year-over-year year-over-year growth in the M2 money supply. We haven't seen this. Like, go back and look at this chart, okay? Longtermtrends.net, M2 money supply versus inflation. We have not seen this since the Great Depression. And every time the money supply, this is statistical evidence, okay? This is not my opinion. Every single time when the money supply has contracted, we've had a depression. In the past 150 years, except 4 times, each time we had a depression. Here unemployment went to 25%, here it went to 11.5%. Over here it went to, I can't remember the exact number. Just Google this. But it's over double digits, okay? And same thing over here. So it's contracted 4 times. And each time we've had a depression, and now we're doing it again. Guys, we haven't seen this since the Great Depression. I want to bring up a different perspective, right? Because there's one guy I highly respect in crypto in general, which is Blockchain Backer. And to go back to March of 2020, this is like around April or something, May, I think, of 2020. But down at 3K, I want you to like look at this, okay?
Around $80,000.
Okay, I'm gonna do this.
And then finally it goes right here. Oh boy, it could be a while or it could happen fast. I don't have the answer for you. The only thing I can tell you is that I see something very similar to what is happening in Bitcoin that we've seen in other things, and it matches up to what I expect. As we've talked about, I've been saying, I expect Bitcoin to go to probably around $80,000, right? So you kind of outline it like that, and right up here around 80K. Well, when we look at how NEO performed after this moment right here and put a Fibonacci on top of it, NEO went about the same distance, right? Which reached right up to the tip 4.236 Fibonacci extension level, and then that was the end of the cycle. And that's what I do expect for Bitcoin. And I know that's not a favorable thing to say, that I expect Bitcoin to have one more push up to the top, and then that's the end of Bitcoin. I mean, I could see after the next bull run, I could see Bitcoin coming all the way back down to 3,000. So we're talking like going to 80,000, then coming back to 3,000. I know, not favorable to say, but that's kind of what.
So this guy, which I highly respect, if you want a different perspective in the short term, but same long-term perspective, you should listen to this guy. He got the whole bull market correct, by the way, just want to clarify. I highly respect this person. But he was calling for, he bought the BTC and Ethereum at the literal day on the low, back over here, and over here in March of 2020, and sold it. I'm not shitting you, bro. On the day on the top. Okay? And now I want to go over this. Okay?
Way down here, and that any type of retracement that comes in here is actually going to eventually
I should go back to this.
Super cycle for Bitcoin to have to come back and revisit these lows way down here, and that any type of retracement that comes in here is actually going to eventually reject and head all the way down here. And I've presented that many times, and I have to say, and I'm going to put like absolute serious confidence on it, we are not doing this. This is not happening right here. It is completely out of place for that to end up happening. In 2019 and in 2020, we expected this. We crash, retrace, reaccumulation, go. We know that's what happens at the end of super cycles, like with Ethereum's. Right there, you've got it. You've got crash, retrace, reaccumulation, 4.236 extension, and that's it, lights out. We have a very much of a recency bias in crypto and in market analysis to say what happened the last time. And I just know it because I've seen it over there on Twitter, how many people are saying, we're doing this again. And it's the same people who got wrong-footed here. It's the same people who got wrong-footed here who are now saying, we're doing this. We're not. Either Bitcoin is starting a whole new super cycle all over again, and these calls for $1 million are true, and we're just going to grind and grind and grind and grind and grind all the way up there. Or this is the completion of the 5th wave, and we've now had 3 super cycles happening in here. We've now completed the 5th wave, and we are heading back to retracements and then heading deep down below the 2018 lows. And we can either believe in the magic of super cycles with Bitcoin and we're about to start some craziness going to $1 million, or we have to also look at what is going on in markets in general and what is going on with the United States stock market. Because each of Bitcoin's major runs that have happened, whether it's 2013, whether it's 2016 and 2017, or if it's 2020 and 2021, they were all marked by the stock market breaking out. And every all-time high that happened for Bitcoin after a multi-year bearish period occurred within weeks of the stock market breaking out, in particular the Dow Jones. So if the Dow Jones is not heading to new all-time highs, there's a very real case for this being the circumstance happening in here. And so this is going to be a very, very unique time, and people are going to have to do better than grabbing onto magic ideas. And one of the things we've talked about a lot with Bitcoin and expecting a bounce to come out of here, and why we've talked about retrace for so long, is the crash, retrace, reaccumulation breakout for 4.236 extension and what happens right in here, because we've compared this to Ethereum. This is exactly what we got, that we caught a huge bounce over here below the previous all-time high, as we have caught over here for Bitcoin below the previous all-time high. And that there's a very real possibility of a retracement coming out in here, getting back into these.
This is where I disagree with him, right? Because I believe this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave. A, B, C. That's it. But he sees it going up as high as retracements. I do not agree with this. But if you're bullish, you could see this, right? As being a possibility. I'm not going to say you're stupid for it, but I don't see it.
Levels, and then turning over and heading all the way down, because the stock market is not going to give us a new all-time high, and we're heading into a deflationary time period in markets.
This is the most probable outcome. Why? Go back in history and argue with this chart if you want to. When the money supply goes negative year over year, you get a depression. It ain't a joke. I don't think people understand the seriousness of this. So my base case was always 2 to 3K because of a 5-wave impulsive wave count to the downside, ABC, 5-wave again. Okay, with the stock market going on. Now I want you to listen to this as well.
In here for Bitcoin. And so the thing that most people are going to lean on, because they don't know what's going on in here, is they're just going to say we're starting a whole new cycle and it's time to go on to bigger things. But the reality is very serious reality, that this is what's happening in here, and it has a lot to do with what's going on with the Dow and with the stock market, with markets. However,
go back and watch these 3 videos if you want. All I'm going to say is this. If you truly believe that the stock market is going to perform well, that's alright. You can be bullish on BTC and crypto. Unless you believe it's magically going to decorrelate. History suggests we're going to get a depression, double-digit unemployment, 10 to 15, 20% unemployment. Most likely, I would say, my guess is somewhere between 10 to 15%. In this video right now, I'm going to make 4 predictions for 2023. Potentially going into 2024 for some of these, okay? I believe BTC is going down to 2,000 to 3,000. I'm not joking when I say this. I believe we're going to see double-digit unemployment, but that could go well into next year. I believe DXY is going to 120 plus because that's where people are going to go when they sell stocks. And I believe the VIX is going to go to 50 to 90. It could go as high as 150. This is what I believe. And I believe SPX will go down to 1800 to 2100. But it could go back and backtest the GFC highs. Okay? You draw your own conclusions. Personally, I think bad times are coming. And I'm not trying to like be doom and gloom, but fuck, man. I look at this chart and I'm just like, this chart is, it tells you everything you need to know. And I think a depression is in the bag. Like, before I thought, a bad hard landing, bad recession. I think a depression is a real good possibility. Draw your own conclusions, okay? But that's all. Take care, peace.